In this video, we will discuss how to set up for an elevated FIO2 study with BreezeSuite and Ascent Cardiorespiratory software. Elevated FIO2 studies can be performed with the MGC Diagnostics Ultima or Meridian series exercise systems. However, a special setup is required to deliver consistent and stable oxygen during exercise. Elevated FIO2 exercise studies involve having a subject exercise while breathing a higher than normal fraction of inspired oxygen, typically through a breathing circuit. Clinicians or researchers can see how oxygen availability affects exercise performance and physiologic responses. Clinical uses of elevated oxygen studies include evaluating exercise limitation, assessing hypoxemia during exertion, differentiating mechanisms of dyspnea, determining oxygen prescription needs, and researching exercise performance. In some clinical environments, the subject may complete a standardized exercise test with a treadmill or cycle ergometer under room air, and then again with elevated FiO2. Clinicians then compare variables such as oxygen saturation, workload, VO2, heart rate, ventilation, dyspnea, and exercise duration. Before any testing can take place, the pre-event flow sensor must be calibrated. Because a valving system will be used during testing, the flow sensor calibration must be performed under the same conditions. Assemble the valving system as shown here. The Hans-Rudolph valve can be the 2600 or 2700 series. If the Hans-Rudolph valve has a LUR fitting on it, the fitting must be capped. In between the two rubber couplers is the pre-event flow sensor. The screen side of the flow sensor should be facing the syringe. Attach the umbilical to the flow sensor, and then attach this assembly to the 3-liter calibration syringe. Go to the flow calibration screen of your software and perform a flow sensor calibration. Note, if the next test following the elevated FiO2 test will be on room air, the flow sensor will have to be recalibrated without the valve before proceeding with the room air test. The setup for elevated FiO2 testing is to ensure that the subject always has an adequate supply of breathing gas that is at a known and consistent FiO2. The FiO2 used for the study is typically in a range of 28 to 40% oxygen. The value you use will depend on several factors. What is the subject's overall physical condition? Does the subject have any pre-existing conditions such as heart or lung disease? Is the subject mobile? What are the questions you are trying to answer with this test? The recommended setup is shown here. You will need a supply of 100% oxygen and a supply of room air gas. These two gases are connected to a high-flow blender. If using compressed gas cylinders, the cylinders should be of the HK size. Smaller cylinders may not last the entire procedure, depending on the length of the exercise test. If the blender has gas inputs that allow for approximately 50 psi gas, then wall oxygen and wall air gas may be used in place of the compressed gas tanks. Connected to the blender is a high-flow flowmeter that connects to a 100-liter non-diffusing reservoir bag. The flow of gas into this bag must be sufficient so that it does not deflate while performing the exercise test. The flowmeter output may need to change during the test, depending on the subject's minute ventilation. All of the parts highlighted are available from MGC in a kit. The part number for the elevated FiO2 kit is 790179-001. Before testing with this setup, settings in the BreezeSuite or Ascent software should be changed. In BreezeSuite, a new script can be created, or, after you enter patient information and go to the GX tab, the settings screen will be displayed. The external dead space should be changed to 130 milliliters and the mechanical dead space set to 45 milliliters. If you are performing an exercise test where the FiO2 is greater than 55%, check the FiO2 box. Unchecking the thresholds in the Settings tab can be helpful to determine whether or not the subject has equilibrated. In the Ascent software, a new GX script may need to be created. From the main menu, go to the Admin tab. Click on the GX Scripts tab and click on the blue plus sign to create a new script. Enter a new script name. As in BreezeSuite, uncheck the thresholds to help determine subject equilibration. Next, create a patient interface similar to what is displayed here. The end result is that the dead space distal to the sample line should be 130 milliliters, and the proximal to sample line dead space should be 45 milliliters. Be sure to select the Save button to save your script. When entering patient information, on the patient visit screen, be sure to select the newly created script for an elevated O2 study. With BreezeSuite and Ascent, inflate the non-diffusion bag and connect the subject to the breathing circuit before starting the test. Have the subject breathe the desired FiO2 and allow time for subject adjustment. If you do not allow for equilibration, data may not collect or inaccurate values may be reported. Once the subject has stabilized, select Start and perform the exercise test. Thank you for watching this video. For questions on performing an elevated FiO2 test, contact technical support at 1-800-333-4137 or email us at support@mgcdiagnostics.com.